Jose Alfredo, my hero. Thanks for taking the time to meet with me, man.
No problem.
What I'm really hoping people can get out of this is just an understanding of like what an amazing human and individual you are. I was really excited for you to come out. You did over 180,000 in revenue as a first year rep, which in my opinion is pretty impressive. What preparation did you take before the summer that helped you excel so well?
It was Tyrell did most of the work.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he prepared me was just, really good. In a way, when we would have a Zoom meeting for training every single week.
Yeah.
And whenever if it was already Thursday and we haven't done a meeting, I would get back to him like, hey, we haven't done training this week. Are we still going to do it? And he would get back to me like, yeah, let's do it tomorrow. So I was either he was on me like, hey, we haven't done meeting this week. Let's do it. Or I would be on him like, hey, we haven't done meeting this week. Let's do it. So it was a constant thing that would like push each other to train pretty much. But also he made me read a bunch of books. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Yeah. One of my favorites.
Yeah. 7 Habits was another great one, which I thank him a lot that he made me read all of that. It just made me build calluses in my brain and just prepare me for the whole summer.
Yeah. I remember like recruiting you, man. And for me, it's really interesting to really understand like where people come from. And before this, you were doing a trade that's super respectable, man. You were doing plumbing.
Yeah.
But to come from plumbing to sales, I feel like maybe you've been a bit of a jump, man. Why don't you tell me what that was like?
Yeah. So the company was actually mine and my stepdad's.
Uh-huh.
Plumbing is really good money, honestly.
Yeah.
But my stepdad got a divorce with my mom, and it's just kind of weird. We weren't really working with each other anymore. It wasn't a team anymore. So, I just wanted to get far from that, and I spoke to my wife about it. And Tyrell actually tried to recruit me a year before.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, I said no. And I spoke to my wife. And I was like, hey, this offer that Tyrell's giving us, what do you think about it? And she was like, well, we have nothing to lose. If you don't do well, the worst thing that can happen is just come back and keep doing plumbing.
Yeah.
So we thought about it, and we're like, all right, I'm going to give him a call. And I actually called him, and I was like, hey, Tyrell, remember the offer you gave me? I actually want to go and sell this year. And now that I think about it, it was like such a gimme. I was such a gimme with Tyrell.
Yeah.
Pretty much any rep would want that call. Hey, I actually want to do so. It's a little tough switching from having your own business and then going to sell. I mean, you're still in full responsibility, and it's all up to you and how much you want to earn. That's what I like about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a very similar situation where, like, I'm used to talking to clients.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to talking to people. So I think that made me have a little bit of advantage than with other people that don't have experience in talking to other people.
So it was more. It was more than just good looks and charm. The edge that you had on everyone.
Yeah.
Good to know. That gives people like me hope, man.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite stories about you is your best day. You did over 8,000 in revenue.
Yeah.
But what's even cooler about you going out and competing and making that happen was you had a pretty rough day before that, and I wasn't really aware of that until we started talking about this, man.
Yeah.
So why don't you kind of tell me a little bit about that day and how you turned that around to just crush it the next day?
Yeah. So the usual, knock on this dude's house, asked him if he was interested, I gave him the pitch and everything. He said, nope, I'm not interested, thank you. Just overcame that objection, went to a different feature and benefit, and he's like, oh, I'm not interested. And the third time that I actually went and said, no, you know what, your neighbor, Josh, is actually giving me a shot for this. And he's like, dude, not interested, but you could see the anger in him. I'm like, okay, something's bothering this dude. So I just told him, all right, you have a good day. Turn around, just complete me, pushed me.
Physically touched you.
Yeah. I went flying. My iPad went flying. And I just got up and kept walking. I sat on the sidewalk for like 30 minutes crying for anger.
Yeah.
I was just really, really angry.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, who wouldn't be? You just got shoved to the floor.
Yeah. I even remember knocking next door. And they didn't even answer the door, but I just walked away. I was like, I'm not even gonna get this cell because I'm not here.
Yeah.
So I just walked away, tried to calm down again. I couldn't recover from that. It was when that happened. It was like around 7:30, around 8. So I just took the rest of the time to calm down. Now the next day, I did some thinking. I refreshed my brain. I resetted my brain, and I said, maybe he was just having a bad day. It's not me. It's him.
Yeah.
So, but I did want a little revenge. So I didn't want him to see my trucks, Moxie trucks, every single time. So I did sell around that same block. I sold 8. So it was pretty cool.
That's way cool, man.
Yeah.
I think that's the best revenge, man, is just to pick yourself back up, move forward, and go to work. And I think this job brings everybody to the curb and brings everybody to tears, man. Yeah. Like, this job will push you in so many different ways, but I think what it says a lot about you and like your leadership, though, is like you get back up, you go back to work, you go back to that same area, and you go conquer it, man.
Yeah, no, and it feels great. I mean, it feels great.
Yeah, how good did that feel, just selling all of his neighbors all day, man?
It felt awesome. Honestly, it felt awesome. Yeah.
And kind of moving forward, so like I've been doing this, a lot longer than I maybe want to admit. Yeah. This is something I encounter pretty often, right? Like a first-year rep goes out there, they have whatever negative experience that is, and then they choose to react in different ways, right?
Yeah.
And I think it is easy to get discouraged. I think everybody gets discouraged, man. So for a first year rep, I think this year we always try to set the expectation, like there's going to be a point where you're going to want to quit or you're going to be super discouraged, man. Like, what advice would you give them when they hit that point?
I hit that point so many times. And the only thing I can tell them is remember your why. Your why has to be really strong. My why is my wife and my son. It's a really strong why. So just find your why, and if it's not strong enough, make it strong enough. Just be positive.
Yeah.
Don't take everything personal. Like I said, maybe that guy that shoved me, he was just having a bad day.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on in his life. But just forgave him and, hey, let's focus. And yeah, just keep going.
There's a few things like I want to hit on. One, I think it's really important to be quickly to forgive and just to really like kind of love the people where you're at, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think it's just being aware, like everybody has a bad day. Like I've been yelled at a lot. I know reps have been yelled at a lot. Like I think it's terrible for people to be judged at their worst moment, right? Yeah. And there could have been any number of things going wrong in his life, and for whatever reason, you knocked on the door and he took that out on you, right?
No, definitely.
And I think it's just really important to do what you did, man. Like everybody, we're not robots, man. We all need a second to process, especially when something like that happens, right? Yeah. But just being able to forgive and like kind of give empathy, man. Like that's how I've been able to move forward, because I think negative energy can definitely be very, very motivating. But
Yeah.
for me, it's always just been really exhausting, right? And where I've seen guys respond well to adversity, or they have a frustration with like a certain person or customer in the area, they just choose to love and forgive them, man.
Oh yeah.
Understand that things may not be going well or right in their life, but like when guys can do that, it just releases so much negative energy, and it allows you to move forward, man. And I think you did an amazing job with that. And as well as like you talked a lot about like what really drives you. I feel like that's one of the areas where I connect really well with you, is like my family for me is why I live. It's why I breathe. It's why I choose to do so many things in my life. Right. And, I feel like a lot of guys, when they approach door to door, like are hesitant if they have a family or even if they're married, because they know of like the sacrifice that's going to be required of them over the summer. So for you, I know you love your family tremendously. Why don't you talk about how you're able to do that with the family and why that sacrifice was worthwhile?
Man, it was hard. I mean, my wife definitely, there was a couple of times where she was like, I can't do this anymore, you know?
Yeah.
But she was very supportive. That's really important. I thank her a lot for that. But it was just talking it through and like, hey, how can I work? What can I do to make you feel more comfortable? And, you know, either you want me to, let's do an activity on Sunday or in the evening on Saturday, you know, just talk it through. And it's always going to work out when you have a good communication with your wife or with your family. Yeah. And that's what we did, you know. We would go to more museums, you know. We just had a day just set for us, which was Sunday. Because before it was just like activities with everybody, but I feel like it's really important to have just one day, you and your family.
Yeah.
You know, that was really important.
I think that's really awesome about how you made your family a priority and like you used it as a driver. I've seen people that have used their family as a reason to not do some things. And I'm not even saying that's right or wrong, but like, I think it's really cool that your family was your driver. It was your motivator. Cause I feel similar, man. Like I love my boys. I love my wife. You know, any minute I'm not spending with them, like me personally, I'm like, well, I better be doing something freaking awesome with my time if I'm not going to be around with my family. Right. And I really feel that like when I'm with you right now, man, like I've always felt like you're an amazing guy that I want to work with and that I want to invest in. And you're for sure a top producer.
Thank you.
And this job it's really challenging, man. It's really challenging. And I know what you got paid. It was a lot, man. You made really, really good money this summer, right?
I did, yeah.
But at the end, you could do plumbing. I think you could probably do just about anything, right?
Yeah.
Why did you choose to come back and do this again?
The culture at Moxie. I mean, you're surrounded with so many leaders, with so many people that you just want to be around with. That's pretty much it.
Thanks, man.
You feel good to actually come to work, to come to the office every single day. That you know, there's a lot of people that are really, they compete a lot, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a healthy one. So it's just really fun. The culture at Moxie is really, really fun. Not only that, but it really has made me a better person, a better version of myself for myself, my family. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. You know.
I want to dig into just that a little bit more, man. So, I mean, obviously we're trying to find as many people as we can that match our company and our core values. What about Moxie do you just feel like that's my connection to this culture? What is it about this culture that you really admire?
Not only the fact that they don't only do sales goals. You do personal goals. I had goals with my wife. I had goals as a father. I had goals as a son. I had goals as a brother. You know, and each and every single day I was calling my mom, which is something I wasn't doing.
Yeah.
But in my first creation, I had goals, how to be a better brother, how to be a better son, a father, husband, stuff like that. So to me, that was really important, because Moxie is not only making me a good salesman, but it's making me a better person.
Absolutely,
That's
man.
why I came back. And that's why my wife, saw a change and said, yeah, no, let's come back,
That's awesome, man.
Honestly, I didn't make the decision myself. On the ride back home, I spoke to my wife, like, hey, what do you think? Should we do this next year again? And yeah, we both agreed that we should do it. So
I want to give her a hug. Send endless gratitude for her, man. Yeah. That's amazing. And it was just really cool to watch you excel, propel, fight through all that adversity.
Yeah.
Super flattered that you're choosing to come back, man. Like, it really means a lot to me, man. And I just think you're incredible. I think for anybody that's considering selling with you, you're tenacious, you're super hardworking, you understand sales and communication, but most importantly, like, you're a really good human being, man.
Thank you.
The way that you talk about your wife, the way you talk about your kids, the way you talk about your family, like, those are people that I'm trying to attract and surround myself with. Yeah. And it feels good to know that there's some other like-minded people out there. And we've talked a little bit about the challenges, man, but what are some wins? What are some victories? Like, when you look back over the summer, what are some like highlights? You're like, I freaking did that.
Reaching my first 10-day.
Yeah.
That was the best, pretty much the best day of the summer for me.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the car, heading out to area, and asking Tyrell, do you ever think I can get a 10-day? And he literally told me, absolutely, dude. It didn't take, it took less than 2 weeks for me to hit that 10-day after I asked him that question.
Mm-hmm.
Weird enough, though, I worked my butt off that day, but it didn't seem like it. It was literally 9:30 o'clock, and I was still knocking doors.
Yeah.
I was not tired.
Yeah.
I don't have no idea what happened that day, but I knocked a lot of doors. I knocked this full schedule all the way till 9:30 until I got picked up. And literally, Tyrell picked me up at 9:40 something, and I was still talking to somebody. Got my SL, got in the car, and he told me, dude, good job, you got 9. I'm like, actually, I got 10. So he was like, no way. And he actually looked on his iPad. He's like, dude, you not did only get your first 10-day, but you're number 1 in the company. I was like, no way. I looked at it, and I was like, yeah, I am. So I was really, really stoked about it. It wasn't only my first 10-day, but it was my first day being top of the company. That was really, really cool.
It's remarkable, man. That's really cool, man. Thanks for sharing that story, man. So moving forward this year, I know you're going to go build an amazing team.
Yeah.
What is it you're looking for? Like, when you're like, this is the team that I want to build, what does your ideal candidate look like?
Hard worker, positive, and just fun to be around with.
Yeah.
I have this thing that if I look at a person, if I would work for that person, or if I wouldn't work for that person, I wouldn't hire him.
Yeah.
So if I see myself working for him, then I would definitely hire him. But that's the first thing. Be really positive and hardworking. And I feel like in sales, those two things are really, really important.
Damn. Well, I think that's the best way to view leadership is like you're going to work for those guys that you're putting on the team, and like knowing your work ethic, man. I just know for a fact like those guys are gonna get really taken care of. A big thing for me this year that I'm pushing with everyone is we had a lot of wins, but where I'm looking where we can improve, commitment keeps coming to mind. How do I get more committed to what I'm doing? How do I get my leadership even more deeply committed to their goals and being the best version of themselves, And so for you to do what you've done, the sacrifice, you made for your family, the accounts you put up, just getting knocked down and getting up every single day, takes a lot of commitment, man. So I guess, like, what does commitment mean to you?
Just not quitting and not only reaching your goals, but going beyond and farther than your goals.
Yeah. What can any rep that I think is super lucky to work with you this year, what can they expect from you this year? What can they expect from your leadership?
Full commitment, being there 24/7 whenever they need me. Tyrell taught me really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And he was always there for me. Whether it was, a phone call away, if he was busy, he would stop what he was doing. Like, okay, what do you need from me? And that's what I'm able to offer. Full commitment, to whatever they need.
Yeah. Well, I also know that having fun is really important to you as well.
Definitely.
What are some fun things you want to do this year?
A lot of fun activities during the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're really planning some really fun things with the team, and it's going to be a really fun summer.
Why do you love selling in the DC area?
The people who I'm surrounded with,
Yeah.
that's what made it really fun and really special, not the area. But to answer that question, there's a lot of nice people in DC.
Mm-hmm.
I would hear stories from Tyrell, Will, and I didn't, I got pushed one time, but other than that, most people are pretty nice.
Yeah.
Really nice objections. Not interested. Easy to pass.
Yeah. For you.
Yeah. One thing I really liked about it is that we would get an area that maybe had one customer, two customers.
Yeah.
So that really pushed me to get more customers, for the future. It's really easy to sell when you have a lot of customers in your area.
Uh-huh.
You can name drop a lot.
Yeah.
But we would have a lot of areas that, didn't have customers. So that pushed me a lot. Okay, we're going to kill in this area, and by the end of this week, the stars are going to be full. So that's one thing I really liked about the area. We just opened up that office last year?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, it's not as full as Virginia.
Not yet.
Not yet, exactly. But yeah, that's one thing I liked about Maryland.
Awesome, man. Yeah. I think it's kind of hard. You had such a successful year this past year. What's one thing like you're looking to really improve upon coming into the 2023 season?
You can always be better, I feel like I slacked on a couple of my goals. I did 222 accounts. My goal was 300.
Yeah.
So I'm not reaching for 300. I'm actually going for 400 next year. So one thing that I'm changing to do that is my work ethic. And, having a team on my back is just going to push me more to reach that goal.
Absolutely.
Because if I'm setting a goal and I'm making my recruits set goals and I'm telling them to reach their goal and I'm not reaching my goal, I have to lead from the front.
Absolutely, man. What are you most excited about this year?
I'm excited about, honestly, just trying it again. I feel like the first time I was really worried about, can I do this?
Yeah.
Am I really supposed to be here? What am I doing? And I remember my first door ever knocking it. And I literally knocked it, and I said, "Oh, Fredo, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
What did I get myself into?
Yeah.
But now that I know that I can do this, I don't have that worry anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm, excited to come in full on 100% with no worries. So like, I can do this.
You can.
And, just going all in.
I love that. And as someone that's worked with you, man, like whatever my endorsement's worth, man, like anybody that's looking to work with you this summer, I think is going to be one of the best opportunities I've ever had. You'll find a leader that's totally engaged, totally committed to not just like you hitting your sales numbers, but to making sure you're having fun and that your best interests are going to be put forward the entire season, man. And I'm really grateful that you chose to work here. I feel very lucky I get to work with you again another year, man. And I know you can do some really big things this year, man. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me.